Okay, all right. As far as bowl prep goes, I really liked our team's energy. The first 3 days was really focused on fundamentals for older guys, develop our younger guys. I really liked their approach. The last 2 days have been more Wisconsin as far as game planning and getting ready for that. We're going to practice in the morning, and we're going to JaKale's funeral after that tomorrow. And then we will end with a last practice on Sunday that'll finish up our work here. We'll let our guys go home from Christmas, have some time off, and then we will meet back at the bowl site on the 26th. As far as Will being here, it's been really good. Our defensive players have responded. Like we said earlier, he's just trying to get to know our players, evaluate our current guys, and our players have responded extremely well.
Gus, some of the players talked about the energy and already see it in intensity out there. Have you seen that from the defensive side of guys, even with Will just kind of doing it?
Yeah, I mean they're trying to impress him. They're trying to show what they can do. Like I said, they're in evaluation mode, and he's trying to evaluate what we have, and thinking about next year and putting his pieces of the puzzle.
Does his Duke practice all week?
He is not.
Is there a status for him yet for the bowl game?
He has not practiced. He was sick, and he's got some treatment things to do, from the last game.
So at this point, you would not be able to say if he will or won't play in the bowl?
Not at this point.
What do you see from Carl Lawson out there, being back out there, finally getting to move around?
Yeah, it's great to see him out there in pads and the helmet, and I know he's got a big smile on his face, and he's doing what he can do. But it's really good to have his presence out there and his leadership.
I mean, he won't play in the bowl game, right?
Correct.
Okay. And just, do you think that it's obviously a good sign going into the spring, but do you guys feel that he hasn't lost a step, or is there still a lot of progress there?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have an injury, it's going to be a process. But as far as right now, he's ahead of schedule and looks very good, doing the non-contact drills that he's doing. And then, of course, we get into spring, he'll be back to normal, we feel like, and he's worked extremely hard to get back.
How valuable would it be just that he's kind of getting to go out there now and run around on it instead of doing that for the first time in the spring?
I think it's very valuable. Anytime you come off a knee injury, it takes a little bit to getting used to it, how it feels, and that one day it may be a little sore the next. So I think it's very valuable that he's able to do that now. And then once he gets to spring, turn him loose, and we expect him to be back to normal.
More administrative with him, Gus, but are you going to look to go through a medical hardship for the year, or just a traditional red shirt? How do you look to handle that?
Yeah, we hadn't got that far. It'll be either one.
Everybody make it through academically, everything good there?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm, academically, very proud of our guys. Not just this year, but last year. And they've done a very good job. Our academic support team has done a super job, but yeah, everybody's eligible.
Chris Ross was saying he and Cassell and McKenzie had submitted their paperwork for evaluation. Who were the other 3 players? If all 5 were taken, who were the other 3 who did?
We had obviously Sammy Coates. Avery Young is also checking, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Has Duke submitted his paperwork?
No.
Do you expect him to come back?
I think he's trying to figure that out now.
What do you notice about Wisconsin's defense? I mean, say for that last game, they've been top 5 all year.
Yeah, I think obviously, there was some big plays in the passing game, a couple big plays in the run game. But if you look at their whole body of work, they're very good at what they do. Their fits are very good. They remind me some of Kansas State about how disciplined they are. I think they're very good tacklers, and they got some good cover guys, on the outside.
You go into a game like this, how much is just a bowl game about the seniors and guys, just more than looking ahead to next season?
Yeah, I think the big thing for us this year is, we're trying to end this thing on a positive note with that 9th win, and our goal is to be the most improved team from the last game to the bowl game. And our guys are off to a good start with practice. Obviously, we want to send our seniors out on a high note, but at the same time, you're also, building for next year.
Coach, when you were hired a couple years ago, what were the first couple months like for you at Auburn? What kind of went into that when you were hired at Auburn? What was it like December and January when you first got there? What was it like?
It was extremely busy. I mean, obviously, putting everything together and getting organized and everything that goes with that. I mean, it was, anytime you take over a new job, there's not a lot of sleep. You're running on adrenaline and positive energy, and there's a lot to it.
To the game itself, when you're preparing to go up against an interim coach of Barry Alvarez, and also on that other sideline, the head coach of Paul Chris, who probably is going to be very involved in the bowl prep process, but just to the game, how do you prepare to go up against? It may not change much, but the coach was on the sideline.
Right. You have the information for the whole year. Of what they've done and what they're good at, and Coach Alvarez, I guess had the similar situation 2 years ago. So you just try to put all that together. Most times teams are good at certain things. That's what they're going to do, and they're a very good team. We don't think they'll change too much, but bowl games are always unique. You've always got to be prepared. It's almost like a first game of the year in a way, that you've got to be prepared to make adjustments, and so that'll be a big part of the game, especially a feeling out time. The first quarter or so.
Will you take everybody that's in good standing on the
Yes,
trip?
we will.
Gus Rutt said Cameron Petway's moved to HVAC this week. What have you seen from him that response?
Yeah, he's got some pop. He's got some athletic ability. He's really been a bright spot, with the young guys.
Guys, can you tell any difference in some of the guys that didn't really spend a lot of time with us since August, who were redshirted?
Yeah, the energy, that's the big thing. They're excited. They're not on a scout team. They can show what they can do. It's just been a real positive energy level from those guys that have redshirted and has been on the scout team. So it's been good.
When it comes to the defensive staff, do you and Will, are you guys talking about that right now going forward, or do you wait till after the bowl?
No, we've not talked about it. We're just trying to give these guys the best plan we can to win the bowl game, and we'll talk about that at a later date.
When you're talking to players that are considering going pro or returning, and they maybe fringe players, is it a situation where you sit them down and weigh the options, or I guess how do you approach the situation?
Yeah, the facts is what they need, and each individual case is different. Sammy he graduated, and he was ready to, he kind of came out. He redshirted his freshman year. This is kind of his group, and it was his goal, and so he has all the facts, and he made that decision. I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy for him. He's done a great job for Auburn on and off the field. And he's got one more game. I know he's excited. A lot of guys wouldn't be probably excited about practicing, when he's practiced hard. He's had a great approach, and really expect him to play well in this bowl game.
Some of the, yeah.
You guys are losing some other receivers. Is Tony Stevens one of those guys that you're looking to make a big leap next year?
I think so. I mean, he's a guy that we recruited. We felt like had a lot of talent, and he did some good things for us, last year as a freshman. And he's a guy that, we'll definitely lean on in the future, that we feel like, has a lot of upside.
Gus, you signed 7 guys. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, go ahead. We'll come back to him. Go ahead.
I know you had signed 7, but you're going to get 7 guys in early. I don't know if you talked about all of them individually, but overall as a group, how do you feel about these guys?
Well, I feel very good as a group. All the guys are coming in. We feel like it'll be their benefit that they're coming in early, and most of them will have a chance to have an impact. Next year. Obviously the few of the freshman linemen, you'll see how that thing goes. But it's really good for us to get those guys here.
And specifically, Jason Smith, I think you talked about him, and Royce Swain.
Yeah. Well, Jason's a guy that we signed before that we feel like he's an impact player. And so we're tickled to have him back. And Swain's a guy that we've known about for a long time. Coach Garner recruited him at Georgia. I talked to him before he went to junior college, and he's a big athletic guy that we feel like can come in and make an immediate impact up front because we are losing so many guys. So we're tickled to death to have him, on that.
Phil, did you have a question?
Well, you thought, it was kind of a whirlwind week for Reese last week, and all the All-American honors and all that stuff he's won. You just got to talk about him and the impact he's had.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very proud of him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could have came out last year and been drafted, chose to stay here, get his degree, 4-year starter in our league, consensus All-American, Remington Award winner. He deserves all of them. He's been one of our leaders. I've said it before, he's an extension of our coaches. And really, with what we do, he's so valuable with our pace that he makes calls, on the run. Our center is very influential in our success. And he's had a great career. And he's got one more game, and, we're going to do everything we can to send him out on a high note.
Were you involved in recruiting him?
Yes.
Did you see that he had that kind of potential to be that kind of player?
Yeah, I knew he was extremely talented, and he had that leadership in him and that toughness, and so I knew he had potential. You never know, obviously, when they end up being the #1 center in the country, but we knew he had the potential.
Coach, we got 2 more questions. One from the gentleman and one from the rookie.
We're going to end on the rook, okay? Go ahead.
What do you think of Xavier Dampier and his progress? And did you look at anybody else at center behind Reese in these early practices?
Yeah, Xavier's done a solid job for us. Avery Young's also a guy that's taken snaps throughout the year, and so but we feel like for this game we're in good shape. On that.
Because I was going to ask about, Rhett mentioned that in the spring it's going to be Jeremy and Sean kind of going to start the quarterback job. Is there any thought to maybe moving Jonathan to another spot just to take advantage of his abilities?
Jonathan Wallace?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll reevaluate everything after the bowl. Jonathan, he can play quarterback. He's really coming on at wide receiver. He's a guy that we feel like we can count on. So, after we get done with the bowl, we'll be able to evaluate all that and get a good plan going into spring.